Absolutely everybody wants to make $1 million. The only problem, there's a lot of BS out there. There's a lot of misinformation out there, and there's a lot of people that make it seem like it's a lot easier than it actually is. So in today's video, I'm going to break down the top 7 components that if you implement this into your life right now, I would be extremely surprised if you don't make $1 million also. So here we go. So the first thing that you have to understand is that the world is rigged and it's really not what you think it is. So right now everything is broken down into 2 different categories, the haves and the have-nots. The haves are the people that make millions of dollars, they're financially free, and they could do whatever they want. They don't have the boss to answer to. Now the have-nots are the people with a day job. They're begging for pay raises, they want job security, and they're really never going to break free and have an extraordinary life. So this leads me into number 1 on my list, and honestly I just have 7 things listed right here that we're going to talk about. Number 1 is going to be that a day job is a trap. Let me explain. So typical people in society, we are told to go to school, get good grades, go get a job, go buy a car, go get a house with a mortgage, and live our life. Get our pay raise, get our PTO, get our 401k, get our health benefits. But for whatever reason, the have-nots are pushed so hard to go do that stuff, but they really never achieve financial freedom, at least maybe not until age 65. Does it sound fair to work your whole life and only enjoy the last few years of your life? And who knows how healthy you're even going to be when you do end up retiring in your 60s? Versus people like me that realize that a day job was just a means to an end. The day job is to get you started, to make a little bit of money, to then take that money and invest it in key areas where you can make a big ROI on your money, but in a low risk way. I'm going to go into that in just a second because at some point you're going to realize that as you make money at your day job and you invest it the right way, whether you buy real estate, stocks, options, online businesses, whatever you decide to do, there will be a time value on your money where you're going to realize that going to work at your day job is actually costing you money. So for me, when I hit my first $1 million when I was 27 years old, I knew that going to work was actually costing me money because let's say that I make $40 per hour at my day job, for example. If I could do something outside of work, maybe a business, maybe learn something that can make me money down the road where I'm going to get a much higher ROI on my time, I should go do that. But there's a famous saying that the man that goes to work all day long has no time to make money. I realized that, but I wish I realized that earlier. And when you understand that your time is valuable and you could use your time in more efficient ways than going to work and trading time for money, you will be able to break away and understand that a day job is just a trap. But I understand everybody has to start out at a day job. It's just a means to an end though. So keep that in mind. Don't try to make your day job something that you're going to be doing forever. Just use your day job to get a little bit of money to be able to go invest that money to get a high ROI, something consistent, something safe, which we'll go into in just a second, that will break you free financially. You see, you got to realize that most millionaires and most billionaires, they didn't get to that status by trading time for money in a day job. Once you realize that trading time for money is not going to get you to the million and billion level, you're going to understand that a day job is just going to be a means to an end. Because think about it, there's only so much time in a day that you could trade time for money at your day job to make money. But there's no limits to scaling your business, to scaling your portfolio, to scaling your rental property portfolio. There's no limits to scaling that stuff. There is a limit to scaling how many hours per day that you could work at your day job. So when you get stuck in this cycle of trading time for money, you're probably never going to break free. But when you understand the cycle that you could use your money to make more money, you can make your money multiply with your investments, that is where the true magic happens. So understand that a day job is just a means to an end. Do not make it a lifetime thing. Now this kind of rolls into number 2. And number 2 is honestly a really big one that I see a lot of people getting confused. It's the value of your time. So when I got started out in my career, I remember my first job when I used to make snow cones and I was making $6 per hour. I was super excited to make $6 an hour, but as I learned skills, as I started making businesses, I could realize I'm worth way more than $6 per hour. But I promise you that as you elevate your life, as you learn new skills, you are going to demand a higher price for your time. So funny story, I got in a fight with my buddy a few days ago about it. He makes $40 per hour at his day job. I told him, why do you cut your own grass? You could hire somebody to cut your grass for $40 because it takes him 3 hours to do it. So just think about it. His time value of 3 hours is going to be $120. But if you would just pay somebody to do it for you, they could do it in 1 hour. And at a worst case scenario, you could just stay an extra hour at your day job and you don't have to deal with cutting your grass for 3 hours. On top of that, yes, stay 1 extra hour at your day job, but you could then go take those 2 extra hours that you have in your life to go leverage time, to go learn a new skill, to learn how to invest, learn how to buy real estate, learn how to start an online business that can make you a lot of money. That is where the money is made, not trading time for money by cutting your own grass. So you have to understand the value of your time. And this rolls perfectly into number three, which is you have to stop acting like you know everything. When I started out, I thought I knew everything. I thought I was the best real estate investor there was. I thought I was the best stock market investor there ever was, until you lose money one time. When you get humbled one time, you're going to realize that you really don't know as much as you know. You have to understand that if you want to succeed in life, you have to always be a student of your craft no matter what you're doing. Every single millionaire that I know, every single billionaire, they are all always a student of the craft. They're always honing in their skills, because the second that you stop learning, that is the second that you're probably going to fail. The world is evolving so fast. There's AI, there's tech, there's all this new stuff coming out right now. Imagine if you would just stop learning and not capitalize on these opportunities that are right in front of us. So I personally make it a point to read 2 books per month. If I read 2 books per month in different categories, real estate, stock market, online businesses, all these opportunities are out there right now that you can make a crap ton of money doing. But if you're not opening your eyes and not expanding your horizon, not coming out of your comfort zone, you're never going to be able to capitalize on this stuff. And I'm actually getting a little bit better connecting these together, because guess what number 4 is? You are what your environment is. So I grew up in a small town in Ohio, and I'm going to be completely honest with you. There's not much going on in Ohio where I grew up. There's not a lot of opportunities. Nobody's really doing that well there. You don't see Ferraris going down the road. You don't see Lamborghinis. You don't see any of that stuff. And when you're in that environment where you're not exposed to highly successful people, you will become what your environment is. We've all heard the quote, "Show me your friends and I'll show you your future." If you hang out with a bunch of people that aren't really doing anything with their lives, chances are that you're probably going to be that person too. So one of the best things, hands down, that I've ever done was I moved from that small town in Ohio to a big city on the West Coast. And guess what? I'm exposed to these millionaires. I'm exposed to these billionaires. I see their Lamborghinis. Why can't I have that Lamborghini? It's not, oh, this guy has a pickup truck in Ohio. I want that rusty old pickup truck. You are what your environment is. You have to surround yourself with people that you want to become. And then it's like, once I moved to the West Coast, all my buddies in Ohio were bragging, oh, I make $40 an hour. I make $80,000 per year. I have the best job ever. I'm loaded. And I'm like, yeah, that is good money, when I'm in Ohio and I'm in that environment. But when I moved to the West Coast, I then realized that some people make $80,000 a month. Yes, literally $80,000 a month. And I remember when I learned that, I was like, holy crap, that is a crap ton of money. So then that kind of opened up my eyes that there's levels to this stuff. There's levels to, some people make 80,000 a year, some people make 80,000 a month, and some people make 80,000 a week. I want to be surrounded with people that make 80,000 a month and 80,000 a week so that I could become one of those people. And by doing that, that's how I became a multimillionaire by age 30, by being surrounded by the people that I want to be surrounded by, and always understanding that the goalpost could always be pushed back further. You have to understand that there's levels to it. I make good money, other people make good money, but Elon Musk makes really, really good money. There's always a higher level to this, so don't keep a closed mind. Don't think that you're okay, you're making a bunch of money right now, you're good. Just understand that there's always people that are making more money than you, and there's always a way that you could achieve that also. So number 6 is a big one, and you guys know I have millions of dollars in the stock market, millions in the real estate market, and I have an online business right now too. But you have to understand, you only have to get rich one time. That's it. Just one time. But once you get there, you have to be able to manage risk appropriately in your investments. Yes, you want to still go grow your wealth, but you also don't want to have to start back over at zero. You don't want to have to take on all this extra risk that maybe you would have took on when you really had nothing, but now that you have the money, you want to keep it and you want to grow it in a conservative way. You would be so surprised how many people DM me telling me that they've made millions of dollars in the stock market just only to end up losing all of it. And I'm like, you made $1 million. You screwed up so bad that you lost everything. Why didn't you manage your risk appropriately? Why were you trying to 10x your $1 million again overnight? Of course you could 10x your $1 million, but it's probably not going to happen overnight. I'm like, you're good, man. You could have been financially free. You could have generated so much cash flow off of that if you would have invested in the right stocks, the right real estate, and the right businesses, but you chose to risk everything, and now you're miserable back at your day job. So always understand you don't want to have to reset at zero once you get to the $1 million level. So number 7, which is hands down one of the most important things that you could ever do, is to bet on yourself. Understand that you could make $1 million, that you believe you can make $1 million, that you deserve to actually make $1 million and be financially free. to experience the things in life that money could get you. I understand that money is not everything, but money sure does make your life a whole lot better, a whole lot less stressful. So, what do I personally do to bet on myself? I'm always a student of the craft. I'm always learning new things. I'm always reading. I'm always going to seminars. I'm always doing courses. Because if I learn just one key thing in a book, in a course, in a seminar, that is a game changer thing, and then an opportunity comes across my desk, I then have the knowledge and the confidence to be able to spot that deal, make a play on that deal, and make a bunch of money off of that. So, like I said, I made this video because I truly wanted to show you guys my 7 key things of how I scaled to millions of dollars. But if you want to learn a little bit more about how I did this, watch the video below. It's going to totally change everything how you think about investing. I'll see you guys there.